So good morning, everybody. I want to welcome you to the March 21st, 2023 meeting of the Calvert County Board of Commissioners. At this time, I'd like to ask Pastor Hancock if he would come forward and give us an invocation. Morning, sir.
Morning.
Good morning, Commissioners.
Good morning.
Let's pray together. Father God, we're so thankful for the day. We're thankful, Father, for the beauty of the day, this amazing gift of life that you blessed us with. God, in you we find purpose and pleasure, Lord. Today I pray that you would direct our steps as we follow the path that you have for us. Father God, thank you for our commissioners, Lord. We ask that you bless them with wisdom, Lord, as they make decisions that would prosper our entire community. Father, we pray especially today for our children that are meeting in schools. God, we ask that you would protect them, Lord, provide for them, and Lord, would you continue to grant us peace in our communities, for which we are thankful. In Jesus' name we pray.
Amen.
Amen.
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
So Pastor Hancock ran off. Did you hold an event at your church recently?
I'm sorry?
Did you hold an event at your church recently?
We did. We had it.
Come on up to the microphone. I'm trying to give you an opportunity for some publicity here.
We did. Just the Friday before Valentine's Day, we had our Night to Shine event, which reaches out to our special needs community. And it is a prom experience for those 14 years and older. And we had hundreds of buddies and guests and volunteers. And it's our way of reaching out to the community, the forgotten community oftentimes. And today happens to be National Down Syndrome Day. And so we're very thankful for all of our residents with needs. So thank you for mentioning that.
Yeah, well, I just wanted to give you thank you for that.
Our pleasure. It's our joy. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So the next item is to approve the agenda as presented.
Mr. President, I make a motion to approve and adopt the agenda as submitted.
Second. Have a motion and a second that we approve the agenda as presented. Any discussion on that motion? Hearing none. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. So public service announcements, I do have one. Tonight, we're going to have our staff recommended budget hearing. It's going to be right here in our hearing room. It starts at 7 p.m. We anticipate that there may be a larger crowd than this room can hold, so we do have capacity downstairs for overflow. Just want to make sure everybody knows that when they come in to get here early and get signed up. And that we did try to find a larger venue somewhere else that would hold everybody, but we could not find an adequate facility to do that. And other facilities that we've used in the past, we have technology issues, and since the courthouse here is all wired up and ready to go, it seemed like the best alternative. So we do want to apologize for the inconvenience of not having everybody in this room, but we're going to make sure that we accommodate you and get you in, and we will hear every comment that someone wants to give. So that's tonight here at 7 o'clock. So that brings us to proclamations, and I get to do the first one because it's National Ag Day. Director Oberg.
Great. Thank you, Commissioners. Today is National Ag Day. Calvert County's economy was founded on a heritage of farmers and watermen, and that tradition is still alive and strong in Calvert County today. I have a few stats to share with you. Calvert County is home to 4 former Maryland Secretaries of Agriculture, including our very own Commissioner President Buddy Hance. We have 280 farms, home to more than 450 farmers and ranchers who manage more than 25,000 acres of farmland here in Calvert County. Our county is also home to more than 350 watermen who manage nearly 200 acres of oyster leases and have planted more than 8,000 bushels of oyster shell. Farmers and watermen work hard every day and are dedicated to preserving the rural character that we all love here in Calvert County. Agriculture is an integral part of our lives, providing us with food, fiber, fuel, and fun. And thank you for recognizing these essential industries and all of their contributions. And we have a few special people here today. I'd like to invite our special guests to come up, introduce themselves, and say who they're representing, and if they have any comments to make. Anybody who's a farmer in this room or a waterman should feel free to stand up.
Good morning, Commissioners. I am Kathy Cosgrove. I am the president of the Calvert County Farm Bureau. And I just want to let you all know that you do not need to be a farmer to be a member of the Farm Bureau.
Good morning, Commissioners. Kirsten Cowan, University of Maryland Extension, Calvert County 4-H. Thank you for having us here today.
Chris Dow, Nutrient Management for the Extension Service.
Good morning, Commissioners. Craig Mask, Calvert County Watermen's Association. We appreciate your support in the past, and we look forward to working with you all in the future. Thank you.
Caroline Trosbach, Agricultural Development Specialist with Economic Development. We thank all our growers and landowners of Calvert County for a steady food supply, providing a diversified economy and a heritage of hard work. Our taste buds appreciate the fresh fruits, vegetables, aquaculture, wild harvested seafood, grain, meat, dairy, wine, beer, and other value-added products that are available in Calvert County. We appreciate organizations such as Soil Conservation, University of Maryland Extension, Watermen's Association, and Farm Bureau, among others, for the consistent agricultural education and support they provide. Since we're here at a Calvert County government function, we would also like to thank all the county government employees who raise or help raise our food and other crops, along with all the county government employees who own or co-own farmland for maintaining agricultural opportunities in Calvert County. I believe almost all departments are represented by growers and landowners, and I look forward to hearing more about your operations. We sincerely appreciate this opportunity to show our appreciation for agriculture today and every day. Thank you.
Good morning, Commissioners. My name is Jason Levitt. I'm here on behalf of Wilson Dow Farms in Owens, Maryland, and also the Calvert County Farm Bureau Board of Directors.
Good morning, Commissioners. Jared Cosgrove. I'm here as a member of the Calvert County Farm Bureau Board. Thank you.
So, good morning, everybody. I want to thank you for joining us today. You know, I always like to brag. I'm a fourth-generation farmer, and my family's been here in Calvert County for over 200 and some years. I can't count that far anymore. But, you know, as I grew up, I watched my grandfather and my father farm, and they worked the water in the wintertime, and Calvert County was quite a different place back in those days. But people come to Calvert County, they ride around, they talk about how beautiful it is. They like seeing the forest and the fields. And, you know, it's because those farmers that are still out there working every day, you know, to feed and clothe this country and still making a living. Although it's, as I say, it's changed greatly. We have wonderful farmers markets now that we didn't have when I grew up, where you can go in the summertime and meet just about all your needs. And in this country, you know, agriculture is the #1 industry. And, you know, it's what made us great. We have always been able to feed ourselves. And if you look around the world, that's not quite true in a lot of places. And our ability to feed ourselves is what made this country as strong financially as it is today. So I just want to take this opportunity to thank all of our farmers and watermen out there that work hard every day, to make this county the wonderful place that it is. So with that, I have a proclamation. Whereas, for 50 years, National Ag Day has encouraged citizens to understand agriculture's role in modern society by observing the contributions of agriculture in our everyday lives, recognizing how food and fiber products are produced, understanding the role that agriculture plays in providing safe, abundant, and affordable products, and realizing the essential function of the agricultural, food, and fiber industries in maintaining a strong economy. And whereas Calvert County is rich in farmland and aquatic resources, with 280 farms and more than 450 farmers and ranchers who are local and national symbols of strength and character, displaying ingenuity in times of prosperity and perseverance, easy for me to say, in the face of hardships, while supplying our country, state, and nation with an abundance of high-quality produce, meat, dairy, grain, seafood, and value-added food and resource-based products. Whereas Calvert County farm families and watermen uphold our rural character as they play a significant role in Calvert County by contributing to the local economy, environment, and quality of life. And whereas Calvert County farm families are stewards of more than 25,000 acres of farmland, contributing to the health, beauty, productivity, and quality of our state's water, soil, wildlife, and forest resources for the benefit of all. And whereas agriculture is the mainstay of each person, home, and community through food, fiber, fuel, and fun, and whereas Calvert County is committed to maintaining its robust rural heritage and keeping the county agricultural industry strong, diverse, and sustainable, while meeting consumer-based demand for local healthy food and experience-based opportunities. Now therefore be it proclaimed by the Board of County Commissioners of Calvert County that March 21st, 2023, being known as Agricultural Appreciation Day in Calvert County, be it further proclaimed that we encourage all citizens to be mindful of the role agriculture plays in their lives and knowledge and the importance of agriculture for Calvert County sustainability and legacy. Given on our hands a seal this 21st day of March 2023, signed by all five. Thank you all very much.
Okay, can we kind of scooch in a little bit on the edge? Commissioners, find a window. Cool, here we go.
Smile.
1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. Thank you.
Thank you. I saw your hubby out there driving that tractor the other day. Big Daddy. How you doing? Sorry. I knew she was knocking me around. See what she does? I saw that. You should be witness that, right? You did? Okay.
Thank you.
So next on the agenda is another proclamation for a local superstar. Commissioner Ireland.
I'm gonna let Jeff start. Go ahead, Jeff.
Lovely. Thank you. Jeff Murray, the director of the Calvert Marine Museum. Good morning, commissioners, and good morning,
Morning.
to all the residents watching out there. This morning, we are delighted to honor and recognize 10-year-old Miss Molly Sampson, who on Christmas morning 2022, and it's my understanding, after having received new waders as a Christmas gift, was more than anything interested in going out to the Calvert Cliffs and looking for shark's teeth. Now, the story has this amazing ending in which she found a once-in-a-lifetime megalodon tooth of 5.5, 6 inches long, something like that. Just 15-million-year-old megalodon tooth. And luckily for us, she also then, a few days later, brought it over to the Calvert Marine Museum's paleontology department, who not only confirmed that it was a megalodon tooth, but also confirmed that it was a once-in-a-lifetime find. And the subsequent social media post went around the world and I think was picked up by media outlets on all 6 inhabited continents. So at this point, only the penguins of Antarctica do not know about this wonderful and remarkable find. It's just amazing. I want to thank our paleontology department, and they help folks every day identify fossils that are brought to the Calvert Marine Museum. But also, I want to thank Molly and her family. She was on the Kelly Clarkson show. They did various media spots for local and national media outlets, and they always mentioned the Calvert Marine Museum and Calvert County. And subsequently, as a result, Calvert Tourism has gotten all sorts of calls and inquiries into how you can get here and search for shark's teeth and do all sorts of things. So it's been a boon for Calvert County. It's an amazing story, sort of a hallmark moment in our lives. So we'd like to recognize and honor Miss Molly, and I think her father is also going to come up. I'll let them introduce themselves, and I'll leave to them.
Hi, I'm Bruce Sampson, Molly's dad.
I'm Molly Sampson. Thank you.
And good morning, commissioners, and thank you. My name is Stephen Godfrey, and I have the great pleasure of being the curator of paleontology at the Calvert Marine Museum. So it was a thrill for me when, in early January, she brought her tooth and to share her excitement with us. And so it was great for us to be able to affirm her aspirations of potentially becoming a paleontologist. And I had no expectation that the story would go viral, but it did, because she checked all the boxes, and it was great fun to just ride that wave. So thank you very much for sharing your enthusiasm with us, Molly, and for encouraging people everywhere to pursue their passion. So thank you.
Anybody else? I see we have several more from the Marine Museum here. All right, we'll just get you to come up and get a picture once we get done with the proclamation. I've had the honor to have worked with Bruce. He was a former deputy sheriff. Thank you. Molly, congratulations. Are you going to make a necklace out of it? No. I've been dying to ask you that. You haven't decided yet? I know. All right, without further ado, I'm going to read the proclamation. Whereas the Miocene epoch sediments comprising Calvert Cliffs preserve one of the most diverse and abundant fossil resources along the Atlantic coastal plain. And whereas it is the mandate of the Department of Paleontology at the Calvert Marine Museum in Solomons, Maryland, to collect, preserve, and interpret this world-famous and scientifically important resource. And whereas the fossilized teeth of the extinct giant macropredatory shark Otodus megalodon, also known as megalodon, are known to erode out of the cliffs. Those teeth spark the interest of avocational and professional paleontologists, not to mention the general public. Paleontology is often a catalyst spurring the interest of young people to pursue their interest in science. And whereas Molly Sampson, a 10-year-old, and her elder sister, Natalie, along with their parents, Bruce and Alicia Sampson, have a passion of collecting fossils along Calvert Cliffs. And whereas on Christmas Day 2022, Molly Sampson made an incredible discovery of a large megalodon tooth in the waters of the Chesapeake Bay beneath the cliffs. This remarkable find has brought joy and excitement not only to Molly and her family, but also has gone viral globally, as mentioned, after being posted on social media by the Calvert Marine Museum. Now therefore be it proclaimed by the Board of Calvert County Commissioners that this discovery by Molly Sampson has brought positive global attention to Calvert County, the beauty of the cliffs, and the importance of our fossil resource. Be it further proclaimed that in response to the near universal interest in paleontology, Calvert County thanks the Sampson family for their enthusiasm for paleontology, which has spurred people everywhere to pursue their interests in earth and natural sciences. Given under our hands and seal this 21st day of March 2023, signed by all 5 county commissioners. That would be a little heavy on the neck there. Here, Jeff, hold her best. Absolutely. I can do that.
Okay, so we'll get a photo here and then a couple more behind us. Let me go in. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. Awesome.
All right. Ready? 1, 2, 3.
There are several others. Who else from the Marine Museum? If you're from the Marine Museum, please stand up.
They're here for the next one.
They're here for the next one.
They're here for the next one.
Oh, they're here for the next one.
Yes, next one.
Here for everything.
So they can beat it, they keep out.
with my husband and they made their little silky things and all.
I knew it.
I bet you did, I bet you did.
That is. Let's go. Hold it up, hold it up. Right.
15 million vote, yeah.
Is that all?
She was first human to ever touch it.
Really? Yeah. That's incredible.
They probably
It
forget.
really is.
So the last proclamation we have on the agenda today is for Calvert Marine Museum. Commissioner Grasso?
Thank you, Commissioner. Thank you, President Hance. I get the honor of staying up here for a second proclamation. As you know, CMM is going to honor tomorrow evening our more than 500 volunteers who volunteer thousands of hours each year for the museum and in a multitude of various capacities, everything from electrical work to carpentry to caring for animals to being interpreters in front of the public. But I'm going to let many of them come up and introduce themselves. It's nice to have a proclamation in their honor today. And we also have Sherry Reed here, who is our volunteer coordinator, and also, I think he's going to introduce himself, but Alex Dalton, our 2021 Volunteer of the Year.
They're shy.
Here we go. So here we go. Come on right up front. There we go.
My name is Alex Dalton. Come on up. Come on up.
Good morning. My name is Sherry Reed, and I'm the Volunteer and Event Coordinator at the Calvert Marine Museum. So I'm blessed to work with so many amazing people. I'm got the best job in place. So I thank you for that. And again, as Jeff mentioned, Alex was our 2021 Volunteer of the Year. Yay. And tomorrow night we will name our 2022 Volunteer of the Year, along with the amazing amount of hours that you're going to get to see that our volunteers gave us in 2022. So I look forward to seeing all our commissioners there and our administrator, assistant administrator. So I'll see you there.
Good morning. My name is Ellen Curran, and I'm the president of the Volunteer Council. And as Sherry said, we are most pleased that all of you are going to be with us tomorrow evening. That says to us that you appreciate what we do, and we thank you.
Good morning. I'm Tammy Keeber. I am the Vice President of the Volunteer Council. Look forward to seeing you tomorrow evening as well. Thank you.
Thank you.
Good morning, I'm Kelly Friedman, and I'm the Board of Governors Liaison to the Volunteer Council, and it is an honor to work with all of the volunteers, and I thank them.
Good morning, I'm Lowell Martin. I'm the immediate past president of the Museum's Volunteer Council, and it has been a wonderful honor to serve in that position over the preceding 3 years. Thank you much.
Good morning, my name is Judy Larson. I'm the current treasurer of the Volunteer Council and a past president of the Volunteer Council, and I'm pleased to be here to join you today. Thank you.
Good morning. My name is Bill Smith, and I'm a volunteer.
Come on up.
I was commanded to come up here, so here I am. But there's nobody at the museum that's more proud of our volunteers. I've worked and volunteered myself on a lot of boards and a lot of places, and I can tell you, hands down, the best volunteers that there are.
Anyone else? Well, thank you all for being here today. The commissioners do think that Calvert Marine Museum is a gem in Calvert County. I absolutely personally love it. My grandson, Gabriel Grasso, has been volunteering since he was 12. He'll be 15 next month. It has been a wonderful outlet for him because he loves paleontology. He loves all that you do. I'm going to miss the bug eye ball. That was better than any event that I've ever been to. But we do appreciate all that you volunteers do, and we appreciate y'all for being there. For our county, you're a gem. So I'm going to read your proclamation. Whereas the Calvert Marine Museum has been a vital part of our community for many years, providing valuable educational and cultural opportunities for residents and visitors alike. The museum would not be able to fulfill its mission without the tireless efforts of its dedicated volunteers who give their time, energy, and expertise to support the museum's goals and successes. And whereas the Calvert County Board of County Commissioners wish to pay tribute to the many volunteers who help make the Calvert Marine Museum a great destination to learn about regional paleontology, as well as the estuarine biology and maritime history of the tidal Patuxent River and adjacent Chesapeake Bay. And whereas the affiliates of the Calvert Marine Museum volunteer family provide invaluable service to the community as they dedicate themselves to making the museum experience interesting, meaningful, and fun for our visitors. And whereas the volunteers at Calvert Marine Museum enhance the overall experience for our visitors by assisting staff with such important tasks as serving the public as docents, staffing the museum store, answering phones, helping to care for the animals, working on exhibits, restoring boats, and assisting in the library. And whereas volunteers are vital to our future as a caring and productive nation, the Calvert Marine Museum wishes to honor these volunteers at the annual volunteer recognition event. Now therefore be it proclaimed by the Board of County Commissioners of Calvert County that March 21st, 2023 be known as Volunteer Recognition Day. Volunteers make the ordinary extraordinary at the Calvert Museum in Calvert County. Be it further proclaimed that the appreciation of all Calvert County citizens is hereby extended to all who have supported the Calvert Marine Museum throughout the past year. Given under our hands and sealed this 21st day of March 2023, signed by all 5 Board of County Commissioners. Thank you all very much.
Awesome. If we could get a little scooch in from the sides, perfect. Okay. We'll find the lens and 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. Awesome. Congratulations.
Can I get one? Quick. I'm always that person. One more. All right, everyone smile. Wonderful. Thank you.
Got a message that the otters are loose. That's nobody up here.
They're, you are a definition of volunteer, sort of.
So I just want to say, you know, in Calvert County, we are very blessed to have a wonderful volunteer fire and EMS rescue system. But the first time I went to the Marine Museum Volunteer Appreciation Dinner, I had no idea what goes on down there and all these wonderful volunteers. As a volunteer fireman myself, I always used to say, you know, you can pay people to do stuff. When people volunteer to do it, they're truly committed. And that's what you see at the Marine Museum. These people show up every day and do jobs just like paid employees. They don't just show up once in a while on a weekend. They're there every day, just like a job. And that place would not be what it is without all of you. So we look forward to seeing you again tomorrow night. And thank you so much for what you do.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I'll tell you, Mr. Smith, he volunteers for everything. I'm saying how he does what he does.
It's crazy. Tomorrow night you'll hear at this dinner the thousands of hours that these people put in a year. It's crazy. So that brings us to appointments. Deputy Administrator Vasallo.
Good morning, Commissioners. You have 2 rounds of appointments this morning. The first appointment is for the Parks and Recreation Advisory Board. Staff is requesting that the board reappoint Robert Tetrault.
Move to approve.
Second.
Have a motion and a second that we reappoint Robert Tetrault to the Parks and Recreation Advisory Board. Any discussion on that motion? Hearing none. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
All right, your second appointment is to the Agricultural Preservation Advisory Board, and staff is requesting that the board appoint James Dow. You'll have 2 vacancies following that appointment.
Move to approve.
Second.
Have motion and a second that we appoint James Dow to the Ag Preservation Advisory Board. Any discussion on that motion? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion carries. So now that brings us to consent. We have 2 items on consent today. Item 1, Department of Community Resources FY 2024 Governor's Office of Crime Prevention, Victim and Youth Services Funding. Item 2, Department of Public Safety Lease Agreement between the Board of County Commissioners and Cellco Partnership doing business as Verizon Wireless. Are there any objections to the 2 items presented under consent?
None.
Hearing none, those items will be adopted as presented. That brings us to new business. Item 1, Department of Finance and Budget Service Charge for Semi-Annual Real Property Tax Billing. Director, good morning.
Good morning.
Oh, you have a new face with you today.
Yes. Good morning, Commissioners. I'm Sharon Strand, the Director of Finance and Budget. And to my right is Kay Zinn. She's our accountant one who is responsible within Finance and Budget in processing all the real estate tax bills, about 41,000 of them. 43,000 of them. Sorry. Thank you.
Don't cut her short.
Yeah, I'm serious.
Don't cut her short.
Yeah, it's a little over 43,000. Yes. It's a big task. It's one of our largest, if not our largest, revenue source for the county. So Kay has done an excellent job in getting those bills out in a timely manner. I'm going to go ahead and read the memo. Background. The county is required to allow certain taxpayers to pay their annual real property tax bill in 2 installments, provided the property is their principal residence. One installment is due September 30th, 2023, and the other is due December 31st, 2023. The county may charge a service charge on the second installment. The service charge has 2 components. One is to recoup 3 months of the lost interest due to delay in receiving the revenue, and the other is to cover administrative costs incurred as a result of processing 2 payments instead of 1. The administrative charge will be calculated at 10% of the lost interest charge. As in prior years, the maximum service charge allowed by law is 1.65%. The maximum was calculated when the semi-annual legislation was approved. It assumes a 6% loss in interest rate. Discussion. As required by the annotated code, the Board of County Commissioners must set the annual service charge rate. The county currently earns 0.042% annually on its operating cash. The interest rate and the administrative charge of 10% would result in an annual charge of 0.0462%. Since the delay in receiving the revenue is 3 months, the service charge added to the second tax payment for fiscal year 2024, if approved, would be 0.01155%. In FY 2023, the board waived the annual service charge. In fiscal impact, the fee generates about $5,688 for the county on an annual basis and adds about 0.21 cents to the second installment bill for the average property owner. Conclusion recommendation. It is recommended the BOC either approve the service charge rate for fiscal year 2024, which is tax year 2023, of 0.01155%, or waive the annual service charge fee and instruct Finance and Budget to submit that rate to the Department of Assessments and Taxation for approval.
Mrs. Zen, would you like to add anything?
Nope, I'm good.
I didn't want to miss an opportunity.
No, just in the past, because of hard times with the taxpayers, last couple of years, you've gone with a 0% service charge.
There are no questions? I wish I'd have prepared ahead. I'd had some questions for Kay, but I'm not prepared.
You're not?
Sharon, how much service time, okay, do you believe gets dedicated? How much, does it cost us to process these other? Is it a lot of them, or?
to process the tax bills. We, the tax bills are outsourced to a outside vendor.
Okay.
And once we get the tax billing on the system, there's some behind the scene things that I have to take care of. We get a bill print file, and then, we start proofs back and forth until we get a good proof of the tax bills, and then it's 10 business days once we give them the final proof to mail and get the bills ready.
So in the past, we've actually sent out 2 tax bills. One in about the end of July, early August timeframe, and then we would, for the first installment, and then we would actually send out another bill for the second installment. Probably 5 or 6 years
Yes.
ago, we started just sending out one bill with 2 coupons in late July, early August. So that has saved the county in printing costs and outsourcing that second bill. Also, for the most part, we get the largest amount of payments for our tax bills through mortgage companies. And that gets processed by Kay through our Munis Tyler system. However, we still do receive checks, and those come to the treasurer's office. So when the checks do come in, the impact is on the treasurer's office, and it is a time-consuming process for them to process the second round of check payments.
That's why I was asking, because what it does is it puts the cost on all
Yes.
taxpayers, and it's a small amount.
Right.
But I've always said I don't like putting my cost on someone else.
Right.
So that bill is directed just at the person that splits the bill, correct? So they are paying
Correct.
their way.
And if you do have the option of paying in 2 installments and you make the first installment, then you don't pay that charge.
So if the person did not want to incur the fee, they could just choose that option.
Correct.
Because there's no getting around those property taxes.
Right.
So either way, you know, I used to have salesmen come to the store and say, you gonna pay me today or pay me tomorrow, but at the end of the day, you gonna pay me. So I just don't want someone else,
So you're not
pay
taking, I'm sorry.
no, I just
Stepped
don't
on
want someone
your
else to
toes.
pay my bill.
Right.
So you're not taking away the ability to split the payments. What you're asking for is to charge a certain percentage that you indicated on the individuals for having that 3-month grace period. Does the cost negate what we would bring in? The cost to figure out how much they owe, and you'll have to be sending out a second mailing, which you have stopped 4 or 5 years ago, I guess. Does the cost that you will get in for those 3 months negate what it will cost to send the additional bills out?
So, as we see, obviously several years ago, the interest rate that the county was earning on our investments and general fund money was very low. So the impact was minimal. As we see interest rates rise, we also is a positive for the county because we see our investment, the interest income that we receive rise also. So we're trying to account for that 3-month period that we don't have that second installment in our account for that interest rate rise. Now, the impact, this would help cover the treasurer's office, some of their costs in processing that second round of payment.
Second round of payment comes from the treasurer's office. It doesn't go through a company like the original one. The original tax bill comes through a company.
So, we only send out one tax bill now, and it's for primary, and you can have 2 installments if it's your primary, most likely, and then if it's not your primary, it's due September 30th.
But a company mails that out for
But
us.
a company, we
Okay.
send them a bill file, and so we, again, like you mentioned, we have stopped mailing out that second bill and there's two coupons on the semi-annual bills. So this fee would help offset the treasurer's office in processing that second payment due December 31st, the time that it would take to process that.
Do you know offhand how many people take advantage of it?
No, I do not, but I can, I mean, it's quite a bit.
Yeah.
Is it?
But
More than
I
50%?
can,
I would, well, could be. I mean, could be.
was just
But
wondering.
a majority of our money comes through tax services, mass payment processing.
and they do take advantage of the two
Yeah.
installments, mortgage companies and tax
Because
services.
they get a file like the middle of August, and we give them 4 weeks to send the money, and then we give them another file to the tax services the middle of November and do like the middle of December. So we can get everything processed by December 31st and September 30th.
Okay. Very good. Any other questions? Good. Motion?
Mr. President, I'm going to make a motion, I want to make sure I get this right, to not waive the fee, being that it's just directed at just those who use it, being that it is, sounds like there is quite a few to handle, and the cost of wages steady going up and everything. It's a small amount, but it's just the point that it makes, you know? So, oh, thank you, Mr. President. You're a good man. Thank you, sir. So I'm gonna, whoops, no. Yes, I have moved that we approve the service charge rate for FY '24, tax bill of 0.1155, and instruct finance and budget to submit that rate to the Department of Assessments and Taxation for approval.
Is there a second?
A second.
A motion and a second that we approve the service charge rate for FY '24 tax bill of 0.01155 and instruct finance and budget to submit that rate to the Department of Assessments and Taxation for approval. Is there any discussion on that motion?
Thank you for correcting that, Mr. President, because it was missing a 0 in the original motion.
I thought I put that in there.
That's why I
Thank
don't read them. Any discussion on that motion? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion carries.
No.
Oh, one opposed, motion carries.
Thank you, Commissioner.
Thank you.
Our second item under new business today, Department of Community Resources Highway to Health Memorandum of Understanding. Director. Morning.
Good morning.
Commissioners.
Good morning.
And Jennifer Moreland, Director of Community Resources, and I have Ed Sullivan here, the Office on Aging Director. We gave you a pretty lengthy background with this memo, but there's a reason for that. So the citizens can kind of have a great understanding of what we bring to our senior centers.
We'll start with the background, Commissioners. Good morning. The Department of Community Resources Office on Aging Division collaborates closely with several community health partners. At present, the Calvert Health's Community Wellness Department, CWD, is hosted by the Office on Aging at all 3 county senior centers. The Calvert Health Wellness Department delivers blood pressure checks, fitness classes, as well as provides a pharmacist for medication management and registered nurses for health education. The Calvert Health Mobile Unit provides services to older adults once a month at each county senior center. During the pandemic, the senior centers were transformed into vaccine clinic sites where well over 1,000 seniors were vaccinated with the help of Calvert Health staff. Additionally, the Office on Aging offers space to Hospice of the Chesapeake in our senior centers. Hospice provides bereavement counseling and facilitates support group for veterans. Finally, the Office on Aging collaborates with the Calvert County Health Department staff to provide diabetes self-management classes that are evidence-based to equip citizens with the best tips to help them manage their health. Calvert County Health Department staff provides behavioral or mental health counseling at all 3 senior center locations. Discussion. The Highway to Health program, initiated by the Calvert County Health Department, aims to extend its services to senior centers in Calvert County. This program will offer access to blood pressure and A1C screenings, which can detect diabetes, and provide case management services with follow-up support. Seniors can receive assistance in finding transportation services, locating health classes, or identifying physicians without the need to travel to the health department. The program will be hosted at the Office on Aging's North Beach, Calvert Pines, and Southern Pines locations, which are conveniently situated near senior housing. Fiscal impact. The Department of Community Resources Office on Aging Division will not incur any fiscal impact. The Calvert County Health Department has secured grant funding to provide the highway to health services. Conclusion and recommendation. Staff requests the Board of County Commissioners to approve the submitted memorandum of understanding and authorize the board president to sign it on behalf of the board. This will enable the Calvert County Health Department to extend the program to senior centers in the area. And certainly, if you have any questions, we are here to take them.
So you want to talk in a little more detail about the program?
Well, one thing I'll say is when we have events and programs at our senior center that are unique, like this program is, which is really targeting populations at risk for these chronic health conditions, it draws people there that may not have been there before. And it also serves, obviously, the people that live in the housing nearby. But we found that with the vaccine clinics, and it was so critical because they're able to benefit from all the other services we have at the senior center once they come in through those doors. And this happened last week when we had Community Resource Day. There were a number of people that came in, and I heard them as they were coming through those doors says, you know, I've never been here before. And they're in their 50s, and I said, well, now's the time to start.
What's that mean in the 50s?
I know.
Huh? Just because I went to school with your brother and you know how old I am.
But we have fitness classes, and they're, you know, our fitness programs, they're free. We have equipment in the senior center. We just expanded at our Southern Pines location, too. And you're welcome to join us anytime.
You're looking at me again. But if I went in there, though, I'd be making you feel bad, you know. You'd have to have the paramedics out there and everything.
But it's very, our senior centers have a really great, positive, approach to health. And there's so many different services that are available there. And it's lifting up this community and bringing them into that culture of good health so they can live a very long and full life. So really, that's what this program is about. I don't know if you want to expand on it.
Well, Commissioner Hance, the program, as you asked, specifically addresses diabetes. It's one of the things that it addresses. So, as we all know, diabetes is a huge factor in the risk of not only seniors but all adults, but particularly seniors. We, at our senior centers, as you may know, we have evidence-based diabetes classes at each location, which are 7-week classes, 6-week classes that give seniors the opportunity to manage their condition. So this Highway to Health program will detect, obviously through these screenings, these screenings can be done at the senior centers, and the health department can direct them to these diabetes classes at each of our centers.
I just want to give you every opportunity to have a public service announcement.
We appreciate that.
I mean, I think it's great because a lot of folks just won't go to the doctor, or they don't have the money to go to the doctor, you know, and any of this type of health stuff helps. So it's great stuff you guys doing down there.
And certainly the transportation is a factor.
just thinking the same
We come across this frequently, as I know you all know. There are some challenges with transportation with many seniors in the county. Having this program located at all 3 senior centers where there is a bus stop, as we know, is very helpful. And it will, it's something we believe that would help the seniors.
For sure.
And we have a dietitian now at with our senior centers.
That's good.
So making that connection to our dietitian, and we provide congregate meals, as you know, at all 3 senior centers. But now we have a dietitian that's going to be part of directing that, and so can talk to people about their needs and what they can, what they should and shouldn't order off menus.
And
So-
if anybody wants to volunteer for Meals on Wheels, they're looking for
That's
volunteers.
right.
Thank you, Commissioner
Yes.
Hance. We appreciate that. We could definitely use the volunteers. Thank you.
For sure.
And the grant funding, is that for 1 year, multi-years, or?
I think 3.
Commissioner Cox, I believe this is for 3 years. This is a 3-year
Great.
grant, so.
The benefit of this, so speaking about transportation, we have worked really closely with the health department. They have funding for transportation to bring people to these programs outside of our public transportation system, which you know has also been a real issue. So they have been bringing people to the health department, and they will be bringing people to our senior centers that traditionally live off the beaten path. So that's good too.
So how are they providing that service?
They are contracting with Lifestyles, which we have a grant right now with Lifestyles to do senior rides, but it only can provide so much. And so this has taken that contract further for us. So it's been a great partnership.
Very good. Any other questions? Motions?
Yes, sir, Mr. President. I move that we approve the submitted MOU and authorize the board president to sign it on behalf of the board.
Second. Have a motion and a second that we approve the submitted memorandum of understanding and authorize the board president to sign it on behalf of the board. Is there any discussion on that motion? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Thank you all.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks
Thank you
again.
very much.
Good seeing you.
That brings us to a work session, Department of Planning and Zoning. Consolidated Transportation Plan. Good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning. I'm Jessica Gattano with Planning and Zoning.
Jason Levitt, Department of Public Works, Capital Projects Division.
So I do have a memo I could read, or I prepared a brief presentation.
You could just do the presentation.
All right. So we're here this morning to go over Calvert County's transportation priorities and discuss this year's transportation priority letter for consideration to be included in the state's upcoming transportation consolidated transportation program. So we'll briefly go over what the Consolidated Transportation Program, or the CTP, is. The CTP is Maryland's 6-year capital budget for all transportation and infrastructure projects for the Maryland Department of Transportation, or MDOT's, multimodal transportation business units. Those business units and one authority include State Highway Administration, the Maryland Transit Administration, the Motor Vehicle Administration, Maryland Aviation Administration, the Maryland Port Administration, and the Maryland Transportation Authority. In last year's CTP, Calvert received funding for some of our top transportation priorities, the first being vital corridor improvements on Maryland 231, and we received funding for a feasibility study for a much-needed transit transfer station. Also not listed on the slide, we received funding for sidewalk improvements on Bayside Road through the Safe Routes to School program, and we received funding for resurfacing and road rehabilitation throughout the county. So this is an annual cycle, so throughout the year, staff works with the Tri-County Council, individual modal administrations of MDOT, the Calvert St. Mary's MPO, and adjacent jurisdictions to identify and address our most pressing local and regional transportation priorities. In the spring, local jurisdictions are encouraged to submit a priority transportation project letter, which is what we're here doing today. And then in the fall, the Secretary of the Department of Transportation and heads of those business units meet with local jurisdictions to go over their draft consolidated transportation program.
Can I interrupt you for a minute?
Yes, ma'am.
Could you explain the transit transfer station and feasibility study? What is it and what do you hope to get out of it?
I would have to defer to community resources. That is something that they are working with the Maryland Transit Administration on.
So that was the bus transfer station that we talked about a couple years ago while JR is walking up.
Thank you.
Good morning, Commissioners. Jared Cosgrove, Acting Director of Public Works. Yes, that is the transfer station for our public transportation system. Basically, it's a bus transfer station. So you can, you ride a bus from southern end of the county, it stops in, say, Prince Frederick, if that's where it's located. Then you jump on another bus and head to Dunkirk, more or less.
Has the study been completed?
There was a study done back in 2017, I believe, when there was a grant applied for back then. Since then, nothing moved forward. The grant went away. We're looking at reapplying again and moving forward with it again in the next few years.
Were there any improvements suggested at the time?
If I remember right, the study pretty much identified a location to put it. So at that point in time, the location was to put it where the existing armory is now.
Okay.
When the county was planning to put the administration building there. But the study there'll be a new study done to see if there's a better or more viable option for the location.
Okay.
Thank you, JR.
You're welcome.
Thank you. So that was in last year's CTP. That's what we got funded. So, let's see. Oops, let's get back. In November of last year, we came before the board to present the staff recommended transportation priorities to be included in this year's CTP letter. Throughout the winter, we've been putting it all together to bring forward to you today. Prior to the meeting and provided on the agenda, you should have received the draft CTP priority letter and the supplemental documentation for our transportation priorities. This year, we reformatted our letter a little bit to simplify the requests by just breaking down Calvert's priorities from major transportation priorities, which would be over 5 million, and minor, which under 5 million. In the major transportation category, at number 1, we have Maryland Route 24 phases 3A and 3B in Prince Frederick, which would be to continue the widening of Route 4 in just north of Fox Run. Specifically, we are requesting MDOT move forward on preliminary engineering and the rights-of-way acquisitions for those phases. And secondly, on our list, we have the, again, Thomas Johnson Bridge. We're requesting MDOT continue to perform planning and design of the bridge replacement. And you may have noticed a note on the letter. So at a recent meeting for the Regional Infrastructure Advisory Committee and at the advice of MDOT staff in an attempt to show a collaborative effort, it was suggested that we support a priority project that resides just over the bridge in St. Mary's to serve as a temporary reprieve for existing traffic conditions that surround the Thomas Johnson Bridge, if you so choose to include this piece in the letter. We and St. Mary's County in the letter made it very clear that this would be performed concurrently with the bridge replacement. So,
And what you're talking about is widening that road that connects from the bridge to 235.
yes, as well as closing an intersection on it's Patuxent Boulevard, I believe, so that there's not a crossover there.
So just if somebody's watching, so
Thank
they
you.
know
Yeah, thank you.
what the
Yes.
project is.
And then lastly, on our major transportation priority category, we want to keep the ball rolling on the transfer station. So since we've got funding for that feasibility study, we're seeking funding for site development from there.
So I do have two questions on this slide here. The Phase 3A, is that northbound and southbound?
Yes, sir.
Okay, and on 3B, how far south does that go on Route 4?
How about
So the southern limits are Fox Run Boulevard because that's where the previous limits stopped. So this would basically go from that point to north of Stokely Road. I don't know, it's sort of contingent on the state's input at this point in time, actually how far that widening goes. But the main purpose of that widening is to, of course, add additional travel lane volume capability and to extend the pedestrian and bicycle traffic in that area.
Okay.
So it would be going north of, Stokely intersection area, but
Okay.
exactly how far we haven't identified.
And on the previous slide, on the Route 231, the three that we have in the works right now, did we get the Sixes Road and 231? Is that all mitigation all done on that one and ready to go for this year's project, or are we still working on that?
I believe it's still in the works. The last information that I had received on that, there were some other forest conservation type components that had to be worked out. And I am not aware of any advance in
Okay.
that project past that at this
Okay,
point.
very
Those
good.
projects are supposed to be in design.
Yes.
Three on 231,
Correct.
if I'm correct. Adding the turn lane
Adelina.
at Steeplechase and Tate Road, Mason Road, and
Mason.
then Adelina Road, putting in a turn, and then down at 60 Jack.
Okay.
Were the three projects on 231 that are supposed to be in design.
Correct.
Is there any update on the timing of the traffic lights coming through Prince Frederick?
They are working on design for all the traffic lights, so they said 18 to 24 months. I'm sorry if I'm doing your presentation for you. Yes, you do.
Yes, so they're putting in the technology to study the traffic lights.
18 to 24 months. They move as slow as we do.
That's about right.
On the Thomas Johnson Bridge, do you ever get a reason why they're not moving on this? Because there are safety concerns.
Money.
So, yeah, it's money. It's
money.
It's a major
It's money.
project, and it doesn't the state does not have it on their priority list. So the feds won't commit any funding until the state has it on their priority list. And of course, the project's not gonna move without some federal funding. And that's, as Commissioner Hart said, it's the money. It's a $800 or $900 million project.
So last year, remember, they did a nice presentation. We do a CIP presentation. They had this nice book, and they were so nice that they actually labeled bridge projects. When you flip it up, this is for the folks at home, it's not listed. So I'll tell you how it works in our world is if it's not in the book, doesn't happen. So all the talk, and it was election time, and they all came together, and we sat out there.
Had a
and
press
we-
conference.
Yeah, and we heard about how important the bridge is and all this stuff. And the only thing that I've ever heard that would ever give it any remote chance is I had heard there was a company, a private company, that was interested in making it a toll bridge. And if you've seen any bridges that do get done, they are toll bridges. And I don't think it has a chance to ever pass the mustard with folks because that bridge is so used back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. And you've seen the state of Maryland has tried to get away from having people with tolls, so it's all an easy pass. So, if you had to make a guess from the cheap seats, I always say maybe your great-great-grandkids will see it. But Maryland will tell you it is not a priority. They have told us that every single year.
And they say that it meets the safety.
Mm-hmm.
It's not a safety issue. It's a, now I can't think of the word, but there's 3 times as many cars going across that bridge every day as it was designed for. So it's, it's.
What's funny is
in
when
that
somebody
regard.
new gets here and gets on a boat and goes underneath and goes, "Oh my God, there's cracks in it," and they will race to tell me, "Do you know there's cracks on that bridge?" Yeah, been cracks since what, 78?
Since they built it.
Yeah.
State Highway says it's structurally sound.
Yeah.
It's just that it's not meeting demand.
It was over capacity when they were building it.
Yes.
Pretty
It's-
much.
Yes.
Pretty
Yes. It's a shame, but
Yes. We were actually asked to remove it from our priority letter, which I don't think is something that we will
no,
ever
you have
do.
to, you have
You
to
have to
be
do
the
it.
squeaky wheel because as soon as you don't, typical government fashion, well, they never asked for it, so it's not important.
It's
So
gotta stay on the
it has to stay.
Right. So it was our thinking to break it down into smaller components, ease the congestion now best we could.
Right. It is interesting that Potomac River Bridge that they just replaced only crossed 435 million.
Yeah, remember
But
that?
they keep projecting the Solomon's Bridge at 800 to 900 million, and we've asked them why. And they say it's because of fixing the road. It's not the bridge,
Right.
it's fixing the road. So
On both sides.
Maybe
On
if
both
we get the
sides?
road fixed, our side's okay.
Oh, our
It's the
side,
other side.
okay, it's just the St.
Because
Mary's?
it's dual lane. We're dual all the way to the bridge.
Yeah.
And it's not on the other side. Yeah. So.
Did we determine if that 435 million was just to Maryland, or
No,
was
that
that
was
the
total
total cost?
Yeah. Because I asked the bridge guy, I said, what's the deal here? Our bridge ain't no longer than that one. He said, it's the road improvements. And having to go over
The other creek.
St. John's Creek. Yeah, the creek, yeah, so. But we digress.
Do we have any other questions on our major priorities? And then on our minor priorities, which is under 5 million, we're requesting a level of service study for several of the state road intersections throughout the county. We are again requesting funding for safety enhancements at the Route 4 and 258 intersection, just north of the county line. We are also asking for funding to assist to extend the sidewalk on Maryland 765, which is Main Street between Oldfield Drive and Calvert Town Road. Next, we have the installation of a signalized crosswalk at Maryland 24 and Sherry Lane. And lastly, we are asking for assistance filling in the gaps, the streetscape, in the Lusby Town Center.
Hey, and I should go back for a second, and just so the public knows, timing of those traffic lights, we just threw that at them last year, and they did jump on that. So we do want to take this opportunity to thank State Highway and MDOT for.
Yeah, they didn't push back.
They didn't, that's right, because that was not even on the list. And we threw it at them one day in a meeting, and got an email and said they're going to do it, so.
Well, you had brought that up. You said, hey, while you're here.
Yeah, why you- yeah.
So 258 and 4, what kind of feedback are you getting from that? Because that would alleviate a lot of congestion going north once they get out of the county.
We've been requesting it for many years now, and the feedback that we're getting is.
Is Anne Arundel County trying to push it as well, or?
Not that I've seen.
It's not a priority for them, because it doesn't
It's
really
not
impact
backing,
them,
it's,
it's us.
right, it's backing up into our side.
I always heard Miller tried to get it, and he couldn't get it done, so that,
That's not a good
that's
sign.
saying something.
Yeah, exactly.
But it's a dangerous
It
stretch
is,
of road.
it is, it's
It's not
bad.
in our county, but we raise it.
At Talbot
because
Road, that whole area through
Yeah.
there is, yeah.
It's our commuters that are driving it every day.
And just to go off of what Commissioner Hanson said, when we have our quarterly meetings with SHA, they're very responsive. A couple of these added priorities are based on studies that they have done just at our request after meeting with them. So they've been responsive since I've been working with them, JR, Jason, so.
The smaller projects, they can tackle easier than a bridge.
But you should have crash data to support that 258 and 4, I would think. There's a lot of crashes through that section.
Yes.
But is it true, I heard this, and I don't know if it's true or not, I heard the only figures that go into, if there's a lot of crashes there, but only 3 people died, that's what they take into consideration if there were fatalities. Is that true?
I don't know that. I don't know how they do their funding.
Okay.
I would imagine it plays a significant factor in it, but that's not the only thing they go off of
Okay.
for roadway improvements.
I will say for the major projects, there is a scoring system that you have to make an application, and then it's a public, so that they put it online and in their transportation program, how it was scored based on things like how quickly they can get it done, the money that it's asked, how many people it's going to affect, stuff like that. For the minors, they don't do a scoring system that we can see, so. Next steps, we can answer any additional questions that you guys may have. If you have any additions that you'd like to add to the list, take off. I guess at this point, we're just hoping to finalize the letter and get it up to the secretary.
So, I'm sorry.
I want you to explain why we're doing this. Because the secretary's coming.
Well, so the secretary will be coming in the fall. So we're doing this letter, send it up, they take it into consideration. And then they put what they wish to fund into the program, and then they come back down. Usually that's around October or so.
Yeah, they just want the information ahead of time so he is prepared to respond
Yes.
when we meet with him or her, whoever, but.
Yes.
Do we know how long they're going to be at 4 Mount Harmony?
I'm sorry?
4 Mount Harmony, do we know how much longer that project's going to be? JR?
We're looking at JR. He gets the information directly from
I was
State
just seeing
Highway.
if Buddy knew the answer.
Sure. I'd like to know myself.
Well, he doesn't want to answer them all. He's going to give somebody else a chance.
J.R. Cosgrove, Director of Public Works. I've reached out to State Highway a couple of times trying to get an answer of what's the holdup and when the time frame is, as recent as this morning. I haven't got an answer yet, but as soon as I do, I will let you all know.
It's supposed to be soon,
It
but
should be, but I know there's been some holdups. I don't know if it's-
That's some people asking. I was
Yeah.
trying to get an answer for them. All right, thank you.
sit up front, don't sit in the back. Any other questions?
None.
Nope. So you can draft your letter.
Okay.
All right?
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
That brings us to public comment. Mr. Counselor?
Thank you, sir. The board adopted a resolution in 1989 intending to maintain the order and decorum of the governmental process. A copy of that is found here to my right. The Ethics Commission has asked that we remind speakers of public comment that lobbyists include those who seek to influence public policy, and lobbyists must register in advance. The floor has been open for public comment, first from persons in the meeting room who may begin making their way to the microphone, then those joining virtually. All speakers must identify themselves and whether speaking as an individual where you'll be allocated 2 minutes, or as the designated representative of a group where you'll be allocated 5. For those attending virtually, you may, if you wish to speak, please press *9 or use the raise your hand function. Virtual speakers will be identified by the last 4 digits of their phone number or screen name and unmuted one at a time. Is there anybody in the room?
Good morning, President Hans. Excuse me. The beauty of spring is a blessing and a curse, so sorry about that. Commissioners, my name is Stacy Taman. I am a 27-year education support professional with Calvert County Public Schools, currently serving as the president of the Calvert Association of Educational Support Staff. As you move forward in your budget process, I would like you to consider a few things. 3 years ago, CASE and Calvert County Public Schools negotiated a 4-year contract that helped to stabilize the support staff workforce. This contract provided continuity and predictability to this group of employees. As time progressed and we navigated the pandemic, this same group of employees were the reason the daily operations of our school system continued without fail. Human resources, finances, information technology, school facilities, all integral to the survival of the pandemic. It was also this group of employees, some who are here today, some who have already had to go because their bus routes needed to pick up students, some who are not able to attend the hearing later tonight. They were the first to return to our buildings. Later this evening, you will see others, nurses, instructional assistants, behavior technicians, amongst many others, who were the first to return to in-person instruction with our students, a lot who were unable to wear masks, putting their own health and the safety of their families at risk for the good of our students, our school system, and our community. Education support professionals provide critical support to all facets of the school system. The school day does not happen without us, and about 50% of us make less than $35,000 a year. The proposed budget that will be presented by county staff later this evening disregards the struggles and commitments of our educational support professionals and threatens the permanency of our existing staff. Flat funding not only negates any potential increases, it makes previously negotiated increases moot. With inflation as high as it is currently, the hard work done during contract negotiations 3 years ago isn't enough. Dr. Townsel's budget request created hope and optimism within our ranks. The proposed county budget has caused fear and anxiety. I urge you to reject the proposed flat funding and to fund the request of Dr. Townsel and the Calvert County Public Schools. Thank you for your time.
Thank you.
Is there anyone else in the meeting room? Okay, Mr. Cormier online, if you please unmute yourself and identify yourself and whether speaking as an individual or the representative of a group.
Good morning, Commissioners. My name is Joseph Cormier, and I'll be speaking on behalf of CCAC, the Special Education Citizens Advisory Committee. The Board of Education has submitted their implementation plan for the blueprint to the State Accountability Implementation Board. The Board of Education has put together their proposed budget and sent it to you, the County Commissioners. This accounts for increased spending to meet teacher salaries, expanded pre-K, college and career readiness, and everything in between. The County Commissioners insisted on having not just a blueprint implementation coordinator, but an entire joint committee. Staff would be county administrator, the county lawyer, and your citizen member. You've had these meetings for over a year now. You've met with union leaders, community stakeholders. Dr. Sampson and Dr. Townsend have come and presented to you multiple times, and now that the staff budget's been produced, it does not support that work, and it keeps the BOE's budget and MOE equal to last year. This will directly impact Calvert County Public Schools and how they're able to operate, budget for staffing, materials, programs, and by virtue has the potential to impact how the special education staffing is set. Commissioners, I urge you to invest in education just like we do TDRs. I encourage you to invest in our students just like we do for trees. Please invest in education in the future. Thank you so much.
Mr. President, that is the last speaker. Though, while Ms. Taman's still here, written comments on the recommended budget will be accepted through close of business April 4. And that's the request from Finance and Budget. So anybody that's not able to make it tonight can submit written comments.
Right. And we'll repeat that later tonight so everybody knows. Absolutely. That's it. Commissioner Grasso?
Okay,
Your microphone.
Oh,
Catherine.
I'm sorry.
That's okay.
I cannot get used to this.
You'll get used to it.
Okay. I attended the soil conservation dinner this past weekend and the farm to breakfast this weekend. Yesterday, I was in Solomon's at Whole Soul Wellness. Jennifer Garner has opened this facility, and I think it's going to really be a plus for not only Calvert County, but the Solomon's area. And I also asked, we've lived in Calvert County almost 48 years, and a longtime neighbor, Richard Lovelace, passed yesterday. So I asked that you pray for his family during this hard time, and may he rest in peace. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Cox?
I also attended the 75th anniversary of the Soil Conservation Dinner. Also wanted to thank all who had a hand in making the Calvert Pines Community Resource Day a success. It was well attended. Also went to the Farm to Table breakfast on Saturday, sponsored by the Historic Society. And last night, Commissioner Ireland and myself went to Lions Den and met with the members of the Lions Club.
Very good. Commissioner Ireland?
I also was at the Soil Conservation Dinner, the Historical Society breakfast. I had to help feed everybody. I got stuck in the kitchen, but it was a good experience.
You did a great job.
Very good job.
That evening, Waters Memorial had a ham and cabbage dinner. That was very well attended as well. Attended that and got to see a lot of old Calvert County. Showed up for that. And like Commissioner Cox said last night, the Lions, we had some great conversations there, had some good questions, and it went very well.
Thank you. Mr. Hart?
Yes, sir. I was at the Soil Conservation Dinner as well, and I want to put a plug in for this Sunday, March 26th. There is the Therapeutic Recreation Duck Race at the pool here, the Aquatic Center in Prince Frederick, where you can purchase a duck for racing, and the money proceeds go to this. You can go on our website, correct, Katie? Calvert County website, and hit the Parks and Recreation tab to find that. Commissioner Hance, there's this crazy rumor that a special guest color analyst may be there to help over top of this race here definitely worth seeing.
Ratings are gonna go up.
Ratings are going to go up. I predict record ratings for this. It's just this hard rumor I've heard, but it could happen.
Would we know who that person is?
I don't know. I mean, Kevin, any guesses out there? I mean, no guesses. That it's a huge surprise. You know, it's like almost waiting for like the Academy Award to come out. You know, it's just.
Do you have a full costume?
I am going to be so disappointed if they don't have a full duck outfit and everything for me to wear, and you know the. Okay.
Who wants a duck call?
Yeah, I want one of those little quacker things, you know, that to start. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, that I can. Maybe it's still like a starting pistol. You could use that, right? You know, I'm at the mercy of Kevin over there, so.
This is a fundraiser, everybody.
Yes. So that will be this Sunday at 3:30 to 4.
Yes.
Right? Okay. All right, and that's all I have, Mr. President.
Thank you. So I too attended the Calvert County Soil Conservation Dinner last Thursday night, where they celebrated their 75th year. If you're not familiar with the Soil Conservation District, they're an organization that does work out here protecting our soil and our water. And as I said Thursday night, they've been doing that long before environmentalists knew how to spell environmentalists. They were out here helping farmers and landowners conserve their soil, and which in turn protects the water. So we were there to celebrate them, and I want to congratulate James and Jennifer Dow for being cooperators of the year. And this is the first dinner they've had. I think they were the cooperators in 2019. So, but they have a farm up in Lower Marlboro that they've done a lot of work on, and I want to congratulate them. I too attended the breakfast Saturday morning. They said they had over 400 people there. Wow. So it was very well attended. Food was excellent. I want to thank the Ireland and the Freeland family that did most of the cooking from what I observed. And everything was excellent. So next year, I'm trying to keep a lookout for that on your calendars. I also want to take this opportunity to, we mentioned Thursday night Cindy Horseman, who's the wife of one of our county employees who had brain surgery on Friday.
Yep.
And came home yesterday.
No,
Ladies-
Sunday.
Sunday.
She, from the time she had surgery till the time she was brain surgery, was less than 48 hours.
Yeah, ladies and gentlemen, I'm just amazed that modern medicine is to a point where they operate on your brain, and in 2 days you come home. So she's doing very well. So we want to send her our thoughts and wish her a speedy recovery, and hope that Chris gets back to work, because I'm sure they miss him at work. But that's just something when Todd told me, I was just shocked to come home in 48 hours.
She's a
after that.
retired school teacher from our school system.
She is. And once again, I want to, we also got word that there's a flyer floating around that says we're raising taxes.
Not we.
I'm going there. There's a
Only
flyer
Todd.
going around that Delegate Morgan and Delegate Fisher are raising taxes. And what that's referenced to, if you hear that, we as the county are not raising taxes, that we do have some legislation in Annapolis that would increase our share of the state tax that is collected from the gambling machines and the beaches that we use for Ward Farm Park. So we do have some legislation in that asks the state to give us a little larger cut out of what they take from that facility. So if you see that we're raising taxes, that's not true, at least not today. Just wanted to address that before we get a bunch of calls. I want to remind everybody, tonight is the public hearing for our 2024 budget. That's going to be right here. We will have room downstairs for overflow for those people that come and can't fit in this room. As I stated earlier, we did try to find a larger facility, but nothing was available. And at the end of the day, this facility, with the technology that we have and the ability to show our hearing, this seemed like the best option. And I just want to remind everybody, there was some information went out earlier this week about the budget process. This is a long process. We, as the board, won't adopt the final budget until June. What was presented a week ago was the staff recommended budget, which is just a starting point in the process. It's a long process. Tonight, we're going to take comment on the staff recommended budget. We'll work through some work sessions for the next 6 weeks, and then there's a public hearing scheduled for, Katie, May something. 21st.
May the 16th.
May 16th. That'll be your opportunity to comment on the budget that we propose before we finalize it. So I just want to make sure everybody understands this process is long. In my history here, there have been many major changes between what the staff proposes and where we end up in June. So I don't want anybody to, think that it's all said and done because of what was presented last week. At the end of the day, I think there'll be significant changes in that budget, but we have to work through a process. We still haven't determined final revenue numbers, which determines where the budget usually ends up. So we have a long way to go, and I think the history of this board is that, we try to be fair to everybody and take care of our employees. And for all those school employees out there, look, we get it. So just asking you to be patient as we work through this process. So I look forward to seeing a whole bunch of you tonight, and we'll be here as long as it takes. And with that, Mr. Vice President, you have a motion for me?
Yes, sir, Mr. President. I move we recess to executive session pursuant to General Provisions, Article Section 3-305B8, to consult with counsel regarding litigation.
Second. I have a motion and a second that we go into executive session. Any discussion on that motion? Hearing none. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. So we'll
Thank
see
you.
all you tonight.
Thank you.